Ken Cara here with our weekly sports feature. Happy to be joined by Paul Dill. He is the women's volleyball coach at MIT. He has over 1,000 career victories right now, over a 700 winning percentage for both men's volleyball and also women's volleyball. But most impressively for right now, for all of us watching this, he's from the Hazleton area, hails from Hazel Township. Coach, thank you so much for being with us today. Have you had a moment to reflect on that 1,000th victory, or have you taken any time?
I received so many kind of great emails and texts from alums that I've gotten to coach over the years, and it's given me a chance to reflect back on all the wonderful student athletes that I've gotten to work with and how they've kind of helped shape me as a coach and made me a better coach and a better person along the way, and just how fortunate I have been to be able to work with such high quality student athletes. And how they reflect back on me, and they're really the reason why I've been as successful as I have been. Them and the other coaches that I've gotten to work with, for sure.
I always think it's interesting, when coaches tell me, they learn from their, whoever they're coaching, their players. I was doing research for this story, and I just got sucked in. I do a space segment here at SSPTV, and I saw a former player, Jasmine Mogbelli, selected as an Artemis astronaut. So that's pretty impressive. You coached her?
Yeah, she was part of the program. She's great. She was kind of quirky back then, obviously, and so those are my memories of her being kind of a quirky player on the court, and now she's a full-blown astronaut, and just another wonderful product of MIT, and she got so much out of her athletics experience here as well.
I want to go all the way back now. So you grow up in our area in Hazel Township. Were you doing athletics back then? Were you doing baseball? What was it like growing up here?
I had a great childhood. It was just a lot of neighborhood kids around. And I did Little League, and I played on a tennis team in high school. But it was really the sports of everyday kind of pickup sports with all the neighborhood kids from around the area of playing either basketball or football or baseball. And that kind of, and just making up our own games, and that kind of experience led me to want to be active in sports when I was in college, and did a lot of intramurals, and that's where I found volleyball at Bates College up in Maine, when I met a guy named Pete Lucas, and he got me involved in volleyball, and I joined the men's club team there, and then afterwards decided that I really enjoyed that experience, and somehow kind of, along with my economics degree and getting an MBA, I kind of started to dabble in coaching just because I love the sport so much, and then that kind of took over my life.
So you didn't play volleyball maybe growing up. How good were you when you start playing at Bates College? Did you have some talent there to take some learning?
I had to learn a lot. I was lucky that I played so many sports growing up in the neighborhood with everybody, so I was fairly athletic, but learning all the skill sets was really down to my teammates, my older teammates, who took me under their wing, as well as the coach that we had. And I had to work really, really hard, as it was senior year that I, kind of came to fruition as a captain on the team. But it took a lot of work and a lot of mentoring and a lot of patience with my teammates and coaches. So, but I just loved that experience of kind of finding my own sport and kind of figuring out how to do it. And that was kind of my adventure.
I think of MIT, and I'm sure there's more, but I think of a lot of engineers. I have a lot of friends who are engineers, and our brains work differently. I went for communications, and they understand. I just see the thought process working differently. I don't know on your team. Understanding moving on the court and the flows. What is it like coaching at MIT?
Well, what's great about coaching here is that the kids that come in, they want to be the best at whatever it is that they do. They want to be great at it. They're going to put their time into it. They want it to be a great experience. So they really take that on. And I don't have to deal with we don't have any drama on our team. And I've never had a discipline issue in all my years at MIT. And that's just how the kids are kind of wired here. So that really helps create a great team culture that allows them to really be challenged. That's the other thing about MIT kids, is they want to be challenged academically, they want to be challenged athletically, and that allows me to push them a little bit, and they're not afraid of that. And that they want to be great, and if I'm going to help them be great, then they'll buy into what we're doing here. And so and MIT is the kind of place where it's so rigorous academically that if the athletic experience isn't worth their time, they won't do it. So it has to be challenging. It has to be fun. It has to allow them to have some success at on an individual level as well as a team level. And if you can provide that kind of environment for them where they really buy in and they really go, my biggest thing is I got to make sure they're not overthinking things, right? At the end of the day, it's a game, right? And sometimes they overthink it a little bit. So trying to get them to kind of just, enjoy the process and not overthink it and be so self-critical is kind of one of the keys to us being successful.
Just a few more questions. One is, I have the privilege of interviewing a lot of great young women volleyball players here in northeastern Pennsylvania, many of whom looking to move on to a higher level. What advice would you have for them? They're looking to get into college, they want to go up.
Yeah, I think, you really want to kind of figure out how to be the best versions of themselves a little bit and present that to coaches. And for us, it's a lot about the intangibles. The skill sets can be there, but it's what kind of teammate are you? What kind of leader are you? Coaches watch players, in between points. They watch and how they interact with their teammates, how they interact with their coaches. If they're not in, how are they interacting on the bench, let's say, or how are they handling adversity? Like, it's easy when you're winning, but how is it when you're not playing well? And how do players handle that? Do they go within themselves? Are they still giving out to their teammates? Those types of things. What's their court presence like? All of those kind of intangibles are really, really key to what makes a great player. Because at the end of the day, as a coach, you want to bring in players that, I talk about it all the time, that, players you'd like to have dinner with, like people that you want to hang out with. Somebody can be really good and suck the life out of a team. And I've seen that on other teams. And I'm very, very cognizant of bringing in players that are going to mesh well as add to our team culture.
Growing up in Hazleton, other than sports, what did you enjoy about growing up here in the area?
I was involved in music a lot. I did musicals in high school, and I was in the band and played saxophone. And
that's great. I'm a big musical guy too. Is there a musical you remember? Is there one you really enjoyed in high school or something?
We did Godspell in high school, and I got to have one of the leads in that, and it was just a fantastic experience.
So you're a decent singer? You're pretty good?
I used to be. Not so much anymore. Although I don't know, my little kids might I don't know what they would say, but because I sing around the house a lot. But I used to be, not so much anymore.